You've got to be kidding me. 1,200 cryptocurrencies. I don't know how I'm going to keep up with this. People on the Data Dash channel want to see coin coverage videos, but I can't even keep up with the 10 to 15 new coins or tokens that are being created on a daily basis. Some new flashy proof-of-work cryptocurrency that's claiming to be the next Bitcoin. Some proof-of-stake cryptocurrency that's coming out and giving a higher stake reward than the last, which was paying 25% a month. Some flashy ICO that's proposing to put, I don't know, potatoes on the blockchain. It's all too much. I don't know how I'm going to cover it all. There's got to be a way. No, I've got it. That's it. All I have to do is take it one coin at a time. From the top. One coin or token. No ifs, ands, or buts. No trendy or flashy ICOs. No coin requests. Just from the top, one coin at a time. One step at a time. I'm going to do it that way. Okay, let's do it. Pull yourself together, Nick. Zen mode. Let's do this. Well, Bitcoin I've already covered before, and no need to recap on that. I covered it in every single video. Ethereum, I've already talked about Ethereum a lot. Everyone knows about Ethereum. Bitcoin Cash, well, yeah, I talk about that a lot on my channel too, and I've already done a video on it. Ripple, yeah, I've done a video on that too. Everyone knows about it, and heck, I even got a shilling request from Ben Bernanke, so I'm definitely not doing it. Litecoin, yeah, me and Charlie Lee are grabbing lunch tomorrow, and I've already talked about Litecoin enough. God, there's got to be something else I haven't... Wait a minute. Dash, what? What is this? Me? No, this has got to be some kind of error or something. What? $269. $2 billion in valuation. Me? Yes! Yes, finally! A Data Dash coin! Data Dash finally on the blockchain! Woo! Data Dash coin! What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Merton here at Data Dash, and today is November 2nd of 2017. Well, folks, today we're finally doing it. We're finally covering the 6th largest cryptocurrency on the market, a cryptocurrency that I've gotten a multitude of requests to cover and that I have pushed off for way too long. Yes, folks, today we are finally covering Dash. Now, hold on, let's all take a moment to realize the absolute irony. Yes, that my name is Data Dash on YouTube, that I'm one of the larger channels in the space, and I still have yet to cover the 6th largest cryptocurrency named Dash. Okay, now that we've let the irony settle in, let me explain myself, because I don't want there to be any confusion in regards to that. I'm not negative on Dash in any sense. I'm actually quite positive, as you'll see throughout the video, as I continue to talk about Dash. However, the reason I haven't covered it is because I've had a lot to cover in the space, and along with it, Dash has a lot of exciting things going on, and I knew that if I was going to cover it, I want to do a good job of it, just like how I do with any of my coin coverage videos. I want to make sure that I put enough quality into it so you actually learn about it. So, enough pushing it off any longer. I'm going to be talking about what Dash is all about, the technological innovations that they're currently putting in. We're going to talk about the decentralized autonomous organization that's tied to DAO, and then also how it markets itself, based on Amanda B. Johnson, and a few other things as well. So let's go ahead and start off, as always, with the numbers. So Dash itself is the 6th largest cryptocurrency. It's currently valued at $2 billion, and a single Dash is trading around $270. Pretty impressive. Now this, of course, comes due to its limited supply. The limited supply is 18.9 million, lower than Bitcoin itself. However, the circulating supply right now is sitting at 7.6 million, not even halfway there. Not something to really worry about, though, so long as Dash does well long-term. That long-term perspective of the current circulating supply to max supply isn't really much of a worry. So, as we can see here on the technical side, it has been performing very well since 2017 has kicked in. Now, of course, we all know most altcoins have been up generally, but this has gone through a 20 times multiple of what it started at the beginning of 2017. So Dash has been killing it. And to get to the scale and size that it is quite respectable. Not to mention, even with the Bitcoin comparative pullback that it's seen recently, it has been holding up its valuation quite well comparative to most other altcoins, especially with how well it's done. So we're going to be talking about how Dash has been able to sustain this. Why is it valued so much? Well, I'll tell you right off the bat, Dash itself is very well worth $2 billion in my opinion. If there's going to be a cryptocurrency out there that should be valued at this range, I think Dash is one of those candidates, and I'll explain why. So, diving into the website, Dash, what does it stand for? Well, if you didn't pick it up early, or if you haven't heard it in the crypto community, Dash stands for digital cash. Now, Dash wasn't always Dash. It had a few different rebrandings, and there's also been some other cryptocurrencies that have forked off of Dash's core technology. However, Dash itself wants to be the digital cash solution for blockchain. It wants to be what Bitcoin really, in my opinion, will never be, as a form of currency on the blockchain. Whereas Bitcoin has been filling the need of, as a digital gold almost a investable form of gold online on the blockchain. We now have Dash, which is going to be more of an actual payment solution. So it's interesting to see this and see that someone's actually going more towards the currency side of things, as we'll cover more throughout the video. So they basically want to be digital cash you can spend anywhere. They want to support instant transactions, private transactions, which we'll talk a lot about because there's been some controversy as to whether or not it's private. I'm leaning more towards the actual privacy side. It's a pretty good system. And along with that, they want to have a secure open source platform hosted by thousands of users around the world. And this is going to lead us to talking about masternodes later on. So first off, right off the bat, as we go down through the website, they've got a lot of partners we'll look at later on. Don't really want to talk about this first because I want to get down to the more core technology. And again, like we saw at the beginning, they've got instant send, which is their way of sending instant transactions in less than a second, which is unheard of in the crypto community. So again, very interesting to see that. Along with that, private transactions, where they use a method of mixing, and we'll talk about that as we go through the video as well. And then also security. They have a very respectable network running right now. It's very highly secure. I hope that is a seal of approval with the amount of terahashes they have and being powered by over 4,500 servers hosted around the world. Quite impressive for a cryptocurrency. So again, basically what Dash is aiming to be is the next-gen peer-to-peer network for digital cash payments. Dash has a lot of things that really make it stand out. The biggest out of anything is its masternode system. And if you don't know what a masternode is, in the case of Dash, masternodes help process transactions on the network, much like a normal node would. However, masternodes have a certain standard they need to meet. They need to hold over 1,000 Dash. So to be a masternode and get the masternode reward for processing transactions, you have to stake a large amount of Dash. Now keep in mind, 1,000 Dash, $269 per Dash. Do the math. That's quite impressive if someone's holding that much Dash. So again, you have people who have an economic incentive to keep trustworthy with processing transactions. And if you do not, if you breach that violation of trust, you can get your Dash taken away from you. So it encourages an incentive to process trustworthy transactions and build trust on the network. So again, getting rid of that worry of network attacks is very important. It is the first self-governing, self-funding protocol. So we're going to be talking about the DAO, or the Decentralized Autonomous Organization, for Dash. Dash has its own DAO. If some of you know what a DAO is, basically at its core, a DAO is a way that the community can almost self-govern itself on a decentralized network, where people have an economic incentive to build the best for Dash later down the road. And we'll see that they're making some very interesting improvements for Dash, which I'm very optimistic about as we'll go through. And then we can see here as well the amount of master nodes on the network. It's been remaining relatively flat and consistent since 2017, and that's impressive to see, seeing as Dash's value has gone up, and you would expect a lot of people, as you can probably see here, some people probably cashed in and sold some of their Dash. But it's still impressive to see that they're holding about 4,000. Very, very good for the long-term stability of it. And it'll be interesting to see if more people become nodes for the network. It will be increasingly hard, though, because of the price rise. Next up, we have also the fact that they're going towards mobile payments. ding, 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 very big, something that is not seen enough in cryptocurrency. If they really want to be the digital currency, of the future for payment solutions, they need to do this. And this is all coming through the digital currency evolution, or Dash evolution, which is going to be one of the next phases for Dash, where they're moving forward and actually trying to make Dash go mainstream going into 2018. So again, we'll cover a lot of this. There's a lot to talk about with Dash. But going through, I really want to talk about its governance system. So as we were talking about with the masternodes, this is extremely important. Masternodes act as a sense of governance over the network. And the reason being is because they didn't want, Dash to be this centralized company running and operating everything in the rule sets, nor did they want to leave it in traditional, systems such as Bitcoin is. Masternodes get a certain amount of votes, and within the system, there is a decentralized government budget, okay? Now, when there is rewards coming in, I'm going to try to explain this kind of in a streamlined way. In the case of how Dash rewards the community, there is a 45% mining reward. So for those who are mining Dash, they get 45% of the block reward. 45% goes to the masternode reward for proof of service. So they're, processing transactions. And then you also have the 10% of the reward that goes to the decentralized government budget. Now, what is this? Sounds scary, right? A government budget. Uh-oh. Is this our way of paying taxes through our block rewards? No. What this is a system that allows Dash to have a pool of capital or funds that they can use as a community to improve the Dash network and improve on the technologies related to Dash. So we can get more people adopting it and make it easier for people on all different fronts, whether it be mining, the masternodes, the users, to benefit the overall community and bring the value of Dash up long term. So it's a sense of self-governance, and it actually encourages people to look in the better interest of it, because you can only support or be a part of this government and deciding on the budget, on how that budget's going to be spent, if you have a masternode, and each masternode gets a vote in the community. So it encourages you to run more masternodes and to be a part of the community, actually care about the value of Dash long term, rather than just forking the currency over and over. So again, you can probably tell I'm quite excited about this idea of DAOs and trying to pool money together from the community and some of the rewards that we work towards, and actually making the currency viable, not just mining it like crazy. So again, they had a proposal from the start that talks about a few budgeted items. They wanted to have a core developer team, which we'll take a little bit of a look at later on. They have a proposal for marketing as well to get the name out there. We'll look a little more into that later on as we talk about Amanda B. Johnson, and then also the decentralized exchange. Now, I have not been able to figure out much on this, and I think this is something much more in the future. But the idea of a new platform for trading cryptocurrencies on a masternode network sounds very interesting to me. But again, couldn't find too much on it. So outside of that, there is a few different things you can find through the paper here, but that's the main thing I wanted to cover. They do have an approach to scaling as well. A lot of people have been curious, like about blockchain, and also seeing how Bitcoin is struggling with scaling. Their scaling solution is increasing the block size, basically speaking. So they want to do basically what Bitcoin Cash has done, continuing to increase the block size, and they're finding ways to compensate that through the decentralized governance system, where they're going to take that pool of funds and they're going to try to build solutions for the network. So interesting stuff. But first, we've got to go on. Now that we have an understanding of Dash, we've got to talk about Amanda B. Johnson. I bet you could take one of the faces from the developer team and put it next to Amanda, and you would still recognize Amanda more than you would the developer of the team. Now, the reason being is because Amanda B. Johnson was an original YouTuber in the space. She did the Daily Decrypt, which was one of the larger, I think, YouTube channels in the space, and now she's the lead marketer for Dash. So complete congrats to her, because she's done a great job so far. I've been watching through the videos, learning about Dash, and I gotta say, if we didn't have someone like Amanda on the team, explaining things, it would be extremely hard to understand how the privacy payments are made on the Dash network, what Dash is as a whole, what are some of the long-term objectives of Dash, what makes it stand out, and she really has done a great job. I know she's become kind of a kind of meme in relation to Dash because she is the face of marketing for it, and she's been around the crypto community for a while, but she's been absolutely phenomenal and has done a great job marketing for Dash. And I think it was a great pick on Dash's part to get her on the team. So we'll be seeing her more as we go through, but she is the face of Dash, and she does a lot of great explanation videos talking about Dash if you want to learn more about it. So let's go ahead here and talk about the Dash evolution. This is something I'm relatively excited to talk about. Now, if you all have heard me in the past talk about cryptocurrency, the one thing I always say that cryptocurrencies need is a sense of adoption. If you don't get adoption, valuation cannot be found. And because of that, Dash is going to be a candidate that might be ripe for adoption and might be ripe for a continued growth in valuation. Now, why do I think this? Well, if you go through the whole objective of Dash evolution is to make digital cash easy to use and access for all users, okay? So they're trying to take the complexities out of traditional blockchain, out of traditional cryptocurrencies, out of the traditional system of making transactions. And they're doing this through light wallets. They're doing this through Dash Pay. This is what they're working on currently to making transactions much more personable, much more like an application that you'd find on your phone or computer. Not something that looks like a QT wallet, which I think we're all about tired of right now. Seriously, I mean, there's so many cryptos out there that still build wallets that look like this. And because of that, seeing as they're restricted to computers and they're outdated and they just look downright disgusting for a wallet in the sense of a user experience perspective, this is coming into fruition to be a very optimal solution for people. Now, of course, the DashPay wallet is still currently, I think, going through testing. I think they launched an alpha, at least on their timeline. It was stated that they launched one in September. However, they're still working on this entire evolution update, and it should be done sometime in 2018, as we'll look at on their GitHub roadmap. However, Dash is aiming to be consumer friendly. Very good thing, as well as merchant friendly as well. It's not only important to build something that's easy for consumers to use as a form of payment, but along with that, make it easy for merchants to onboard onto the platform and open up new markets for them. That was the reason people moved over to Bitcoin originally. It was this whole other market of capital that they could, sell things to. And this is why Amazon is finally getting on board with it. But again, you can see that they're working towards building, they have a decentralized API that you can connect to in minutes and start actually taking Dash payments for your products or services. So, I mean, this is pretty cool, and we'll see that they have a pretty large amount of both companies, organizations in their network from a variety of different services, as we were seeing on the homepage earlier. So Evolution Alpha will be released towards the end of 2017. We'll start to really get a feel for this and really see what Dash is moving towards in the future. And I'm glad to see this. It shows that the DAO is actually working, that they're actually making upgrades on Dash for the long term. And I think that that's important. And here again, here's a more kind of blown up video here. You'll be able to have a variety of different things. You can go up here, you can see your funds, you can go to apps, and you can also go to friends as well. This is important to have a friend system to send transactions to people who you want to connect with and make transactions to. Along with that, you can see the apps that you can pay for through Dash. They have a lot of VPN services, we'll see later on, virtual private servers, and then also some things like games and gambling and stuff like that. Kind of gimmicky things that you'd expect in a very early on digital currency revolution like this. So again, looking much better than that QT wallet we were looking at earlier, and much more interactive as well, almost building a little ecosystem for Dash to be used. So I like that definitely. And as the list of merchants continues to expand, this is going to become more powerful and more necessary. They already have a few different debit card services where you can actually go out and use your Dash, like ShakePay, for example, which has a debit card system that's powered by Visa, where you can make transactions and convert your cryptocurrency. So that's huge for Dash. They've got a few other ones as well. They have, they're working towards getting email providers. Claws Mail is not really large from what I know, but again, you'll go through and you'll see that they have a lot of VPN services, hosting and virtual private server systems, and then also web and graphic design, where you can pay graphic designers in Dash. Gift card services, games, online casinos, web stores. Again, I could go through each individual one, but that would just be a waste of time. You can see though, and then they also have got precious metals and bill payments as well. However, going back to the top here and really just getting a consensus, there's no large names right now. However, with the ease of access into onboarding your store onto Dash, and as Dash will continue to evolve, I think we're going to see what we've seen with Bitcoin. A lot of places didn't accept Bitcoin at the beginning of this year. Now Amazon's in at least rumor talks of accepting Bitcoin, and that's big news. As e-commerce becomes bigger, taking on these smaller companies at the start and then building up that network will be important, and it will show signs that Dash is here to stay. But of course, we have to see if that will continue. Now, on to the topic that I think a lot of people in the community, if I've ever heard people talking about Dash in my community and stuff in the sense of Data Dash, I have heard a lot of people debate over the topic of the private transactions that Dash makes. And again, we're back to Amanda B. Johnson, our lovely tutor on Dash, teaching us how everything works. And she has done a great job in this video talking about private send, one of the features inside of Dash. So basically what private send is all about and how it works within Dash is it uses a form of what's known as mixing, and it uses those people we've been talking a lot about inside the video, the master nodes. So of course I can't explain everything step by step. As you can see, she spends 11 minutes just talking about it. It's a pretty big topic to cover, and she did a great job of it. So I think 11 minutes is enough to show you that I can't describe the entire thing. I will leave a link in the description though to go watch this if you'd like to learn about it. But I will say, as I've learned more and more about it and learning about the process of mixing through the master nodes and how the more you mix, the more private your transaction can become, with the master nodes being built into the infrastructure and making this a reality, I think this could be one of the leading ways to make private transactions. Again, not the most perfect way I've seen. I've seen things like zero knowledge proof. There's a lot of other things in the space, like for example what Monero is doing as well, that have competed with this. But at the same time, they already have the infrastructure for it. You can already make private transactions, and the way they do it is pretty interesting as well. So I recommend going to watch it and learn about this whole process of mixing transactions. And the more you mix it, of course, the more secure it becomes. So very interesting. She does a great job of covering it, so definitely check it out. So on to the Dash roadmap. This is important to look at. If you really want to look at this as a long-term investment rather than a trading opportunity, as we'll talk about later on, Dash Pay and a lot of the other upgrades that are coming on the roadmap are quite impressive looking. As you all know, as I was mentioning, in September they supposedly released a wallet alpha. I would assume they've updated this if it didn't have the alpha. However, I just couldn't find anything on it right now in the Dash Pay wallet alpha. Again, I usually don't download the wallets as well for the cryptos I cover unless I'm really passionate about it. Along with that, we have Dash Pay Evolution Wallet Testnet. So they're working towards the Evolution Wallet, which is going to be allowing you to use Dash on mobile platforms and other places off of just simply your PC, which is important. This is how you're going to get the mainstream adoption. You have 2 billion people in the world who have mobile phones. You need to reach that market. Again, that is where you're going to really tackle being able to make that kind of communication with people. Next up, we have a few other things going into 2018. Dash Pay Evolution Wallet, LiveNet release. This is where people will actually get to use it, getting off of testnet. And then they've got a lot of other big expansions. They want to, again, use a lot of the funds to spawn new hiring waves to help develop, add to the core development team as well as market as well. So they've got lots of stuff coming in the roadmap. And again, a lot of the scaling issues with increasing the block size, where the network is going to get much, much heavier. Again, Dash is working towards fixing that. And they're going to be building specialized hardware, last time I checked, to help with the master nodes and the sense of processing all those transactions. So again, interesting to see that they're like, yeah, we're gonna do what a lot of people have been arguing against Bitcoin. However, we're gonna do it right, and we're gonna be actually building the hardware infrastructure to process all of this. So again, very interesting. Now, on the sense of transactions, if this is really claiming to be the digital cash comparative to Bitcoin, which is almost seen as the digital gold, the digital investment, in this case, what is the transaction cost of Dash? Well, it's very much in line with a currency. It's sitting right now around 18 cents per transaction. Not crazy at all, really, with how fast you can send transactions on Dash. Now, of course, this can probably change if you're making the instant transactions or if you're making the private transactions. However, Dash is sitting around 18 cents a transaction. Not bad whatsoever, especially comparative to Bitcoin. Now, I'm not going to use its current transaction cost because we're going through a fork, so there's a lot more transactions than usual. But right now, I mean, on average, Bitcoin can sit anywhere from $2 to $3 a transaction. Definitely a cut down on transactions. We'll have to see if that can continue to stay low so long as Dash gets adopted. But again, right now, it's more of an optimal solution for transactions. So good on Dash's part. So the Dash team is definitely, seeing as Dash has been around for quite some time, the core team itself, who are a part of the DAO and managing the DAO, they have been a part of the Dash project for quite some time. And because of that, you have one of those kind of hardcore tech junkie teams that I love seeing in the crypto community, whereas there's been so many ICO teams coming out and say, oh yeah, well, I worked at, so-and-so company. Oh, trust me with your money, give me your ether. Like, it's like you have one of these very core teams. And of course, you can go through the forums, see how they interact. They have a core team of developers. It just seems like a group of people coming together and truly believing in something like blockchain. Again, not some crazy team that just came out of nowhere. A real team of people who are really passionate about what's going on with Dash. And they've also got a nice team of testing and support as well, which I like, seeing as they have a lot of bold ambitions with the Dash network. So, again, can't do too much in-depth analysis. These guys are not the guys who have the LinkedIn pages as the ICO teams do. But again, at the end of the day, it looks like they have a nice scalable team that's behind the Dash project that can justify the valuation that it's at. So we've been talking a lot about Dash. There's a lot of things that I can't even cover in this video because they have so many ambitious things going on in Dash. However, we can see that they are taking a lot of the necessary steps to become the digital cash that they claim they want to be. And with a lot of other forked versions of the currency, it seems like even with that, they're staying ahead of the curve in the sense of private transactions, instant transactions, user experience and adoption, marketing Dash. Just seems relatively good, and it's understandable as to why it's the 6th largest cryptocurrency. So, to give you a consensus on the long term, I think Dash could be a good player. Of course, it's just simply my opinion and not investment advice, but I'm definitely considering having Dash be one of my long-term plays. I haven't really bought any Dash yet. As I said, if I haven't covered something or taken the time to actually do if I haven't taken the time to do the research, I'm not only not going to buy it, but I'm also not going to cover it in this channel. And I finally got to the point where I could cover it. And I wish I wouldn't have pushed it off so long because I see the potential in Dash. I really do. So let's go ahead, now that you all understand that I'm relatively positive on it long term, let's go ahead and look at a trading opportunity. So Dash, I had been watching on a technical sense for quite some time. About a month and a half I've been watching this one. And I've been watching it form this widening channel in the sense of its technical price action. Now, if you all know technical analysis, this isn't something you commonly see. You see channels a lot of times, but you don't see expanding channels. In something like crypto where there's a little more volatility, you will find this. And in this case, an expanding channel is a bearish signal. Now, again, I told you all I'm optimistic on the in the long term. However, at the same time, in the short term, I'm actually quite optimistic on Dash because keep in mind, it broke through the bottom of the channel, but it's also at a discount price for the first time in the past few months. This is an absolute stellar price if you believe in it, both long term or for a trade. Now, do I think it's going to come back up here anytime soon? No, I don't think so. Not in the next few weeks. I honestly just don't think it could, unless you got some really big buys here or you got some South Korean volume, etc. But what I think you're going to see is you're going to see it come back into this channel, and it's definitely going to get back up to a much more fair valuation. With the kind of altcoin sell-off that we've seen, I think that Dash has been a little bit oversold. But along with that, its market cap just makes it appear as if it's having a pullback. As we can see here, this looks very healthy. And notice looks like it's kind of wedging out a little bit in price action as we shrink in here. So again, I think Dash looks relatively healthy, whereas this chart might not look like the best. Again, it's had some very fast run-ups in the past, had some quick sell-offs, and of course, as you all watch my channel, you know that there's a lot of exuberance in the market up and down. Again, I think that on a trading sense, at these levels, this looks pretty good. We've seen past support here and here as well, and I don't think you're going down here anytime soon, in my personal opinion. Again, you've got to do your own technical analysis, you've got to assess it, and really see where Dash is. However, looks pretty good to me right now. The moving averages, not exactly great. Again, it broke through the 200-day a while back, so we're not looking to see if it's finding support. It's been obviously clearly broken against the moving averages. But again, it held up here for a while, held very well comparative to Bitcoin, and as Bitcoin was going up to astronomical values as well. So the digital cash, can it eventually come up and compete with Bitcoin? Again, I don't think it's going to get up to there just yet. They've got a lot of improvements to meet on. However, at the same time, this looks good for a trade, in my opinion, as well as a long-term investment. So again, my opinion, definitely keeping it on my eye as a long-term holding, and I think that you should definitely consider looking into it and researching on Dash. Reaching out to the community as well. I know that they have a good subreddit. I know that they have just a general great community of people who answer questions, and of course, Amanda B. Johnson has some great videos where she's explained everything with Dash, so you can get a full perspective on the cryptocurrency before you make your investment. But anyways, everyone, that's it for the video. Thank you all so much for watching. I gotta ask, are you all optimistic on Dash or not? I think personally it's going to be a great long-term play, but we'll have to see if it can continue to benefit as much as it has from the decentralized autonomous organization that it has been using to make upgrades on the network. But anyways, everyone, that's it for the video. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Stay tuned.